So I'm going to kick this off, and I'm going to rely on Moises up in here, but I'm going to cover a couple. I changed these recently. So the two flows you guys mentioned we can cover. And I want to point that out because it shows the flexibility of how Mint can support various business orchestrations. Again, by you telling us how your business operates, our goal is to make it come to life in Mint. So on the one side, you have what the MAH is taking order to cash essentially from their customers, right? The orchestration we just talked about, it's happening, happens every single day. The other side of that is where we have now the MAH is telling the 3PL, let me use a little pointer here, giving them a forecast update, giving them a transfer advice, receiving advice, doing the shipping order, getting shipping advice back, inventory balance adjustment, credit debit adjustment. So this is the side where you're instructing your 3PL to ship orders based on information you've gotten from your customers. So really quick, who all does this resonate with from your operations today? I saw like 4 or 5 in the back. Anybody else that this resonates with? And is it a common format for you? Okay. So the other side is reversed a bit. So now the 3PL is taking order to cash from the customer. So essentially, when I throw the other visual in, this is where the customer's ordering from the 3PL, and their 3PL is doing the acknowledgement, advanced ship notice, sending the invoice out and taking the remittance back, where the MAH is in this case wanting information mostly on the copy side of it. They want to know, hey, 3PL of mine, what are you doing? How's it going? What's moving? What customers are purchasing my product from you? That's intel that a lot of MAHs want to have. Some get it today, some don't. Does anyone agree or disagree with me on that? Any MAHs in here who want this information and may not get it or don't have good visibility to what the 3PL is doing? I see my quality person's head nodding. Yep. But this is a common case that's similar to the other. It depends on who's doing order to cash. There's a third variant of this slightly. I didn't want to put it on a slide because I think we can do it verbally. It's where the 3PL does the order to cash. However, the MAH controls what orders are shipped against. Anybody have that one? Okay. So we have a few cases where that happens where 3PL takes the order, MAH has visibility to it based on whether it's priority, annual spend, I don't know. But the MAH says, okay, of these orders that came in, ship these orders, and the 3PL takes the instruction. So they kind of hands-off approach, but they get to advise what goes in and out of the warehouse, right? Mm-hmm. So those are a couple models that we've seen in the 3PL space. So what we're going to do is leave this here. Hope this works. It worked. We're going to focus on just this side. We're going to use this orchestration to kind of walk through because we want to focus on the actual, more so the transactions here in white that kind of dictate the type of, movements between warehouses and locations that can actually happen. So for the product flow, we covered these 3 again in the commerce space. So we're going to focus on these 4. This can be again open discussion. If you guys have experienced this, let us know as we walk through this. But stock transfers. Anybody do those? Moving from warehouse A to warehouse B or site A to site Z due to demand, due to proximity, customer request to stock up for a season or something like that, seasonality of drugs. I see some head nodding. How do you do it today? I appreciate your candid, honest answer. He does, and that's not uncommon. There are people who do it. You just know it gets done. Some kind of is it efficient? Is it optimal? Does it get okay? This happens a lot in every industry. This happens. I need to transfer product from point A to point B due to any number of reasons, from marketing to sales to demand from downstream, right? Even weather-related items, right? Bad weather's coming near my warehouse A. I need to ship product out of that warehouse, move it to warehouse C so it can actually ship, not be affected by the weather. Something very simple like that. I mentioned earlier with these transactions, if I need to do an urgent move and I'm doing it over email or a phone call, how fast do you think it's going to go? Probably 3%, 5% of your 3PLs that you work with are probably going to answer the phone for you because they like you a lot, but they're probably getting calls from all the other customers. Think about it that way, right? I got to call my transportation providers, back up a bunch of trucks, and move a bunch of stuff for everybody. It's for some reason. Doing this digitally removes a lot of uncertainty, It guarantees the data's in the system very fast. Now you can, dare me, follow up with the phone call. Hey, I sent you a transfer. I really need it done. The data's already in your system. I verified it. Mint said it went. It's got a check mark on the screen. We can show you guys a demo when we get into the conference, but the data's there. Can you make this happen? I need this done because of your reason, right? It's a digital way to do it. You capture it in your system. You see the move preparing to happen. You send it over to your CMO or your 3PL. We use 3PL in this case more so. They can do the shipment. They can send you back a confirmation. That is done. The idea of I've requested you to do something and I don't know if you did it goes hand in hand with the PO acknowledgement idea and the ASN idea. I send a request, I don't know what's happening. The more I don't know, my anxiety goes up. I start making irrational, uninformed business decisions. And not in a bad way. I'm trying to protect my business. Typically, that costs money. Expedited shipments is the first thing that comes to my mind from my history. Put another truck on the road, put it in the air. It's got to go. It's got to move. It's got to get somewhere. This gives you peace of mind that they can actually confirm and actually do the move. Done digitally, not over email. So we did the transfers, the receipt and the advice. Now the shipping order. The shipping order is just like, it's similar to a PO to a warehouse. It's that moving of telling the 3PL, take the product in the warehouse that I've given to you and send it to customer, so on and so forth. It's their version of a PO, essentially. They're going to send that out. Again, the idea of doing this over email, I've done it before. It's painful. You have to man a kiosk in a warehouse and hope to get emails and send them in and out. It's just not conducive. But again, it gives that warehouse the instructions to ship the product via the mode you requested to the location and the quantity, pick, pack, and ship, and do all the work for you. It's a digital confirmation of it, not over email. The sister to it, the response, is the advice coming back. Right now, this serves two purposes. It tells we'll say the MAH in this case, that the work has been done, but also it serves as an ASN. Right, so now the manufacturer, the MAH, can say, I've got this information from my 3PL team. They may be responsible for forwarding it over to the customer, letting them know, hey, a shipment's on the way. Here's what you're getting. So this transaction is transformed into an ASN in most ERP and WMS systems. So again, a lot of this work is done manually. It pains me. But the visibility is key for all the warehouse transactions, because once you put product on a vehicle or mode of transportation, you don't know where it is unless there's GPS tracking or IoT in place. You don't know where it is. You don't know where it's gone. Is the driver still on the road? Did it get delivered to the wrong location? Even if another warehouse received it, you shipped it to the wrong internal warehouse, they're going to give you a confirmation. This is not supposed to go to Stan's warehouse. You can see that versus it sitting on the warehouse floor. I don't know what this is. Getting slid into quarantine for a week or two before someone makes a phone call and says, hey, I got this pallet of stuff. I don't know what it is. Right, so it gives you that digital confirmation so you're not sifting for things via email. So logistics information flow, we're just going to dive right into this one, because one we haven't discussed yet, forecasting. Who in here are on the planning teams who do forecasting for an organization that works with them? Hey, throw that hand up. There you go, yeah. 2, what's your experiences like? Any one of you can share. I'm very curious. It's a safe space.
I mean, it's it never really works the way you expected. I think that's the concept of forecasting to a certain extent.
Okay, and how do you exchange it with what entities do you exchange your forecast with from where you sit?
So both upstream and downstream, but all via Excel files at the moment.
Okay. Ooh, let's talk more about that. Give her the microphone. Commercial and finance. Ron's conversation. No, this is where rubber meets the road. Yeah. How does it go?
So commercial has their own finance and things they want to sell. Finance has their own finance. So you're now in supply chain. You're trying to get the real thing because you don't want to overstock and you don't want to understock. So it's always just a struggle trying to balance it. Okay.
So do you, out of the three, you guys use Excel to model the forecast, or you guys use a forecasting software?
Yes, and go over hours of meetings with two of them, with 2 teams, then get something.
Spreadsheets, and those 3 spreadsheets. So there are forecasting tools on the market, and I'm not saying that you guys should go get them, but those are the 2 options. And I from my experience, I used spreadsheets because it was It was a thing. The companies that are out today they're not new, but you can do forecasting through them, but they can be cumbersome. What's worse is sharing the forecast over a spreadsheet, or I'm not that old, but use SharePoint, right? SharePoint was a thing to do forecasting over. And you have version 1 through name a number, and you're trying to figure out who edited it last. Google Sheets is that collaborative space people like to kind of sort of use. There's questions about does it work, does it not work, but it's the best way you're going to get an Excel experience where two users can be modifying the same data in real time without there being a lag. Nonetheless, whether you use a software to plan or you use Excel to plan, once that plan is finalized, you share it with your upstream or downstream. How often do they accept the plan as it sits? What they're going to do is they're going to look at that forecast plan and do some things to it. We'll talk about the sister to this transaction, but this lets you digitize the actual forecast plan itself. So whether you plan in Excel or plan inside of a tool, this information can be exchanged in real time. So if you do a rolling 6, 12, 18 month, or you're planning for a seasonality kind of deal, this can actually be sent in real time as you complete it to your supply chain partners up or downstream, share your forecast, and they can collaborate and respond back to it if they're okay with it, if it needs to change, and modify it. Sending it over a spreadsheet, the delays in and of itself to confirm it are irritating. I can tell you this from my experience. It's a waiting. Is it okay? Can you do it? What don't you like about it? Can you tell me now? That's because they're looking through emails of everybody else's forecast. Honestly, it is. It sounds very, very elementary, but that's truly the case. But then they have to get it. They have to analyze it. They have to bump those numbers against their actual production schedules. Does it make sense? That's a whole other analysis. But if they have to do it over a spreadsheet in the same way, both parties benefit from getting this digitized to use it in the best format you can. And we hear the forecast plan a lot because people are starting out not like spreadsheets for the forecast at minimum. Everybody's favorite, inventory. Now, I know everybody in this room touches inventory. Somebody in here has to. Inventory snapshots from partners or internal warehouses and locations. Do you guys get those today? Or how do you get those? I saw a hand shoot up in the back.
Right now, Excel files from our partners.
At request, or is it scheduled?
Scheduled, but that doesn't mean it ever shows up on time.
I appreciate your candor again. Inventory balance allows you to get a snapshot of inventory from your partner warehouses, partner locations, what's in production, what's work in process, materials issued, consumed, and produced kind of concept, right? Give me a peek inside what's going on so I can have comfort. It's all about comfort. The more information I know about what inventory is available, what's on the way, I can make better purchasing decisions. All right, I don't want to, about the conversation, I don't want to over-purchase, right? But I don't want to short myself either because I don't know what information is available. If I don't have real-time information, I can't make the best decisions. And this one, to the point, being scheduled in Excel to go out, that shows how easy it is to fully digitize it. Excel's a powerful tool, but it's coming out of a system unless someone's managing all the inventory in Excel. That's scary, but it happens. But if you have a warehouse management system or an ERP that has a component that captures inventory information, digitalize it. Push it from system to system. Mint can visualize it on a dashboard, but also your ERP systems can give you a delta table. Are we on par even, right? Is it right from what I expect from our shipping or orchestrations, or do I just want to know what's there so I can make better decisions? So it can be used a lot of different ways, but getting it over a spreadsheet going to one department and one person doesn't serve anybody really well. Multiple buyers need multiple bits of information from the same partner potentially, right? So it can be handled that way. The one next to it is the adjustment. So this is typically where your supplier tells you what's there, and you're making adjustments based on inventory. They said they've done their warehouse counts, they've done some sweeps, they found some damages, but you want to adjust on actually what's on hand that's actually available to use. So this is where you actually allow an adjustment to the inventory table inside a specific system. And you see the note at the bottom here is after a cycle count to balance inventory levels out, right? Typically this is, from my experience, has been like a quarter kind of thing, not even a month in, it's a quarter kind of thing where warehouses do cycle counts, so it's not often. So again, that quarantine stuff with dust on it in the corner gets touched in 3 months, right? Somebody counts through it, and now we've got some new decisions to make about why something's there. When in reality, this gives you also an ability to work better with your partners of how do we manage inventory better together? I like you, you do great work for me, but I never know really what's there. It gets shipped on time, I'm happy for that, but I don't really know what's there, and I kind of want to know because of my reasons. having it digitally done and being able to capture information, it gives you data points to reference, create some reports and dashboards from it, and kind of have that discussion of how can we just be better as collaborators.